Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 31st of December 2018, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this last trading session of this year. Yep, and of course the last trading Traders Espresso for this year. So as always, before we jump into the charts, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's start jumping into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the FTSE100. Now, looking at this FTSE overall, of course, looking at the opening price, which we had here for this year, that was approximately around the 7,688 level. So as you can see, it's quite far away from where the opening price is. So in a way, of course, last Friday we saw this nice good spur to the upside here, a nice good push where the index managed to regain some of its losses. Of course, managed to get above a few key areas of resistance, which now are going to become as good areas of support. So of course, the level that I was talking about, I was covering this one last week as well. So I was talking about this 6,700 level approximately there. So we saw this index closing above this key area of support now. So in a way, we could see a follow through here to the upside. Of course, a continuation to the upside here, where we could then test the 6,790 level, which is also not far from here, from this 21 EMA shown here as the yellow line. So, but for those who are more on the cautious side, you could in a way wait until this gets above the 6,790 level, and then this is where we could then aim for the 6,915, or even going a little bit higher towards a retest of this downside resistance line, this short-term downside resistance, or should I say actually more medium-term downside resistance line, taken from the high of the 8th of August. Now, certainly, of course, this index is going to close now in the red. There's no chance that it could get back here towards this area, but maybe this is something for next year. But then again, given all the weakness that we've got here, certainly will be a bit tricky probably for Footsie to get back towards this area. But then again, anything could happen, so keep your eyes on this one. We'll just go probably slowly, step by step, and see how this performs further on. But for now, of course, the first level that we're going to keep an eye on today, and just to kind of remind you guys, today it's a very short trading day for this index. So it's only a half day, so that's why we're going to just keep on monitoring this 6,790 level, which is marked here by the highs of the 19th of December and also the support of the 14th of December. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. On the downside, well, I mean, if this suddenly reverses back down here, certainly we do have a bunch of key areas of support here. Now, but the main one was going to be this one, the 6,535 zone, approximately there. Let me just make it thinner a little bit. So there we go. So the 6,535 level is the one to watch on the downside, because a drop below this could confirm a forthcoming lower low. But then again, it will be very interesting to see if actually we manage to reach this low here, at least today, or is this something going to be for maybe for the new year? Or in other words, the other half of this year, or of this week. So yep, we do have an eventful second half of this week. So yep, keep your eyes on this one. But at the moment, it seems to be more bullish, slightly bullish than bearish, at least for the short run. Jumping into DAX now, DAX also way below its opening price of the year. So that's going to be a bit of a tricky one for this index to reach. Certainly also had not a bad Friday last week. had a nice push higher, but still kind of wasn't able to get back towards these the week's highs, let's put it that way. So still kind of ended the week in the red, but of course, if this continues pushing further up here, if we start breaking some of these key areas of resistance like the 10,600 level, or even a little bit going higher here, the 10,687 marked by the high of the 20th of December. So this is of course where it will become interesting to watch if this index manages to get back towards the 10,825 area, approximately there, which is not far from the 21 EMA, or even actually going all the way here towards the psychological 11,000 again. So, but then again, guys, for these higher levels, we need to see a nice good push, not only above the 10,600, but also a nice good push above the 10,687 level, approximately there. So, and this way, of course, if this continues to push higher, it could fill this little gap that we had here, this little breakaway gap to the downside. So yep, for now, guys, be very careful, keep your eyes on this one, and let's see how this plays out. Looking at gold, and gold also looking at this one, it's very interesting here. And just to kind of find the opening price on this commodity, on this precious metal, and basically it opened near the 1302 1302.50 level, approximately there, approximately around here. So in a way, of course, it has one day to reach that level, but to be honest, I doubt that it's going to reach that level. So just going to mark this on our chart here quickly. Just bear with me one moment, guys. So just for our future reference, let me just adjust this very quickly. So 1302.5, that was the level, that was the opening price for gold this year. So you can see it's desperately trying to push higher, trying to kind of make it back towards the opening price, but probably it's going to end up the year in the slight red zone here. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. This is going to be very interesting to watch, especially going into next year. And of course, it will be interesting to see if we manage to get back above it. Certainly at some point, probably we will, and especially given the pace that we've got here, that we're seeing here on gold, and probably another thing to consider, guys, as well. So because it's quite kind of a bit away from the opening price and where it is right now, so we could see in a way a bit of correction here to the back to the downside here, where we could in a way test one of these key short-term support lines. So the first one could be this one, the steeper one, which is taken from the lows of the 28th of November. In a way, we could see maybe a drop back down here, and then another push going higher. Of course, that's something for next year. But something like this could be a possibility. That's of course if this level here around the 1283 zone, something like that, or if it continues to hold the price down, then yeah, we could see maybe a bit of a slide here back down, and then another push higher. So of course, if this upside support line holds. If it doesn't hold, we do have a bunch of other support lines as well that could in a way play out, but to be honest, if this starts dropping below the 1253 zone, approximately there, or 1254, I would probably say that, if it starts dropping below that, then probably we could maybe end up testing this medium-term upside support line here, taken from the lows of the 16th of August. And if this one holds, now this is something going to be very interesting for the bulls again, because this could be a perfect nice price to jump in again into a good value for gold, and then push back up here towards the opening price, towards this year's opening price, or even going higher into the 1300s. So for now, guys, long story short, for today, probably, even though I don't think that we could get a lot of activity, but nevertheless, keep your eyes on the 1283 zone, approximately there, and also keep an eye on the 1266. Now this is kind of in a way of a psychological level that we were watching and it had a nice break here on the 24th of December, but then it also acted as a very nice area of support. So this level here becomes quite important, the 1266. Even though if we get a nice small drop here below this, still we do have this short-term upside support line to hold the price from dropping lower. But if that doesn't hold, if that fails, then yep, further declines could be possible. But again, be very cautious with the downside. I mean, the bulls might see any small drop as a perfect opportunity to jump in again. So that's why it's going to be a bit of a tricky one in terms of the downside. In terms of the upside, yes, we do think that there could be a chance for this to move higher, but probably something maybe for next week. So yep, should I say for next year, for this week, but next year, guys. So yeah, keep an eye on this one. It's a very interesting one. Let's see how this plays out. Looking at Bitcoin now, this is a bit of a disaster here for this year, and for those who were started investing into Bitcoin, I mean, that's of course a bit of a bad move here, especially if you were started investing here in the beginning around springtime. So basically, of course, looking at this from the peaks that we had in December last year here, and if we draw, let me just quickly grab this, where's that price range? There we go. So if we take the from the highs that we saw here last December, if we take that and take it to the lowest point that we saw this year, basically Bitcoin has managed to drop around 84% of its value. So in a way, of course, if this it got held here not far from the 3,000 level, 3,200, something like that. So in a way, of course, if this wants to continue traveling lower, well, to be honest, might as well shut down the whole thing, because it's already it has already declined around 84%. So the question here is how far it can start declining. Certainly, some of you might say maybe this was already the bottom, because looking at this daily chart and how it's performing right now, it seems like it's trying to form higher lows. Certainly, let's see if that happens, but in order to kind of confirm a possible move higher here, we need to see this one forming some higher highs as well. So a nice good break here above the area around the 4,300 level could potentially confirm that, or even better, to be honest, let's take the psychological 4,500 level, and a nice good pop above this could potentially confirm a further acceleration of the price here, where we could then aim for the 5,860.50 level, approximately there, marked by the lows of the 14th of August. So we could start targeting that, and also you can see that it currently coincides here with the 200 EMA shown here as the black line. So also good potential area for resistance, and of course potential area for a target here. So in a way, guys, for now this is a bit of a tricky one, and given all the weakness that we had here recently, or should I say this year, certainly it's becoming less attractive, and but we might maybe squeeze something out of it if this decides to push back above the 4,500 level. So we're going to be monitoring that one very closely. Certainly, like I said, at the moment, and taking it from the peak of December here, and last December, and dragging it all the way lower towards the lowest point of December here. Certainly, you can see that it managed to drop almost around the 84% in value. So so be very careful with this one, guys. Don't go crazy on it, but something we could potentially squeeze something out of it, maybe if it goes back up here towards the 5,860 level. But if it doesn't, then well, it's gonna be very difficult with this one, to be honest. USDJPY, certainly looking at this one, December was marked here by a nice sell-off here, especially driven by the equity markets, and USDJPY certainly sold off here as the yen became very attractive in terms of being as a safe haven here. So looking at this, we can see that this was the opening price of this year, the area around the 112.68 158. So you can see that we managed to break that nicely to the downside. We broke this key short-term, or should I say maybe medium-term upside support line taken from the lows of the 29th of May. We broke it to the downside, and of course now we're kind of testing this area here around the 110.35 mark near the lows of the 7th of September. Certainly this is a bit of a tricky one, because it has got the potential to continue pushing lower here, especially if we do have these quite important areas of support here. The first potential area of support here could be around the low of the 21st of August, which was around the 109.75 zone. Certainly for that, in order to kind of see that area, we need to get a nice good break below the psychological 110 level. But to be honest, if we do have a break of the 110, probably the 109.75 is not going to be enough, and this could continue pushing much lower. This is where we will aim for the 109.35, or even going all the way here towards the 108.75. so keep your eyes on that one. For us to kind of consider higher levels here on this one, again, we probably need to see this one traveling all the way back above these key areas of resistances. But to be honest, the more important will be this one here around the 111.45, and this way you could then target the higher areas like the 112.20, or even actually going back towards this 2018's opening price. But to be honest, judging from this, yep, the pair is going to end the year in the red, slightly in the red. So yep, of course, keep your eyes on this one. Keep your eyes on this one in the new year, and especially on Friday, as we do have the NFPs coming out. So let's see how this plays out. And the last pair I want to quickly touch on, and that's euro dollar, and certainly slightly declining right now. Of course, looking at this and looking at where the opening price of this year was, and that was around the 120 level, so the psychological 120, you can see how far from that area this pair is right now. So it's currently trading around the 114.25, something like that, approximately there. Certainly for us to it seems that it wants to continue traveling further up here, but probably now this is something for next year. We might see maybe a bit of a decline here again on today, where we could test this 50 EMA shown here as the red line on the daily chart. So in order for us to start looking at the downside, well, we need to see a good break below this short-term upside support line taken from the 13th of November low, and of course a nice good break below the 113.40 could potentially confirm a further decline, a further depreciation of the rate, and we could see this one traveling back down, maybe even actually going all the way towards the 112.25, or should I say 112.15, which was the lowest point here of November, and we could target that area. But again, for the downside, we need to see this break below the upside support line, and also a drop below the 113.40 level. On the ups for now, it seems that there's more chances for this one. There's more chance for this one to move higher, and the level that we're gonna keep on monitoring, of course, is the psychological 115 level. If this has not a lot of activity today, probably I doubt that it could reach that 115 level today. But to be honest, maybe it will pick up the pace, because we do have the US markets open today. And of course, they're open the full day today, and we'll see. Maybe we could see maybe this one reversing back up here and giving everybody a surprise and closing above the 115 level. In this case, I mean, of course, this becomes a bit of a bit more bullish than bearish, and we could see some further acceleration to the upside here, maybe even going all the way here towards this 200 EMA shown as the black line, which is around the 115.85 level. So again, for now, be very careful with this one, especially be very careful with today's trading day. It could be a bit of a quiet one, and for obvious reasons. But anyway, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day. If you want to join me later on at my trader's tea time, and that's 14:15 GMT time. But for those who are finished for the year, I hope you have a fantastic new year, guys, and I wish you all the best in the new year. Only a lot of pips here in your favor, and of course, yep, guys, all the best, to be honest, all the best. And I hope you stay with me and keep on watching and listening to my traders' tea times and espressos. But again, that's only the wishes are for now only for those who are finishing the day, finishing the trading day. But for those who are still here, hanging around for the day, keep join me later on in my traders' tea time. And yep, we'll see how the markets are performing then. Bye bye, guys.